Now we review Last Breath. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have finally seen a movie I really wanted to see, and that's the film Last Breath. This is the drama, I guess you would say, or thriller, not the 2019 documentary of Last Breath, which is directed by the same person, but one is the documentary of what happened, and one is the true story. And what happened is you had a ship doing deep sea repairs in a storm, catastrophic failure, so to speak. The system goes down. Now their stabilization system is gone, and they have divers in the water. Well, these divers are so deep that they're bell divers. They're in deep pressure suits. So they can't just pull them up and say, okay, well, they're trying to get them back to the safety of the bell when one of them's tether snaps, and now they're down there. And again, the problem with this is that these divers only have about 10 minutes of air while they're down there. So now you have this situation where the ship is not stabilized. They're trying to stabilize the ship so they can send people down to save the diver. And, they've got no way of getting down to this diver in time. And that's your story. And, yeah, really spoke to me, to be honest with you. That sort of environment. I love these kind of movies to begin with. Let me say this. I love these kind of movies to begin with. So I love movies that show us more of the world of these highly technical, very dangerous, like deep sea diving and all that. And, the whole thing is fascinating to me, how the big ship works and the stabilizers. Because you see, they're so deep in the ocean. You can't drop an anchor to the bottom of the ocean and stop the ship from moving. And even then, that wouldn't help, because the ship is very large, the ocean is very deep, and you need these sort of jets on the side of your ship, or propellers maybe. I don't know what exactly they use, but they had these things in multiple places, these sort of engines, like the main engine, that would, via computer, stabilize the ship so that it doesn't move around, so that this deep sea tether can stop the ship from, or can be in the same place, so these people can work from the tether. And I mean, yeah, there are probably reasons why this is how they do it. I would honestly say, you probably should have had a system that was designed for them to be down there longer. I mean, you want to get them down there, keep them down there till the job is done, and then bring them up. You're not bringing them up for tacos for lunch. They're staying down there until the job is done, and that should be something that should take a long time. So, you should have the ability to keep them down. But for whatever technical reason that is never discussed in the film, they can only be down there while they're tethered to the main bell. If that tether breaks for some reason, they've got 10 minutes of reserve oxygen before they start suffocating. So this man, the tether breaks. They have no way to even send someone to get him for some time. And then by the time they're sending somebody to get him, they're like, well, is he even going to be alive? And, the thing there is that, yeah, I mean, he was breathing pure oxygen. So it's very cold down there. The possibility exists. Until you recover the body, you just don't know. And that's one of the things about these deep sea situations, is that, yeah, I mean, we've actually had shipwrecks. There were shipwrecks, and they're like, okay, the ship's been down there for 12 hours. They send divers down there to recover the bodies, and then, oh my God, there was a pocket of air. Some dude's alive. So, yeah, this is a real thing. It's hard for me to describe the tension, especially given the fact that in many of these situations, these guys are not freaking out. They're not screaming. They're not like, oh, we've got to do this. It's like, okay, get it done. Yeah, because panic kills. So they're not panicking. So there's a lot less tension in the film for that reason. But that's how reality works. This is a film based on reality. And I mean, yeah, it's also a film based on a miracle. But I knew the story already. I mean, I knew it was going to happen already, so that did take something out of it for me. So I don't want to tell you too much. That's one of those. That's one of those terrible things about being a film reviewer and reviewing films, is that you have to keep saying, look, I don't want to tell you this. I don't really want to give any specifics of anything that happens after the first act. That being the point where the line snaps. And, so you've got, like, the guy in the bell. It's a 3-man team. There's a guy in the bell who's supervising. You've sort of got the other 2 divers who are the workmen. And one of them is the one that gets left down. The other one comes up. Now, he's the rescue diver to come and get his friend. And the friend is a very young man. The guy left down there is a very young man who, he's got his whole life ahead of him, and now here it is. It's going to get snuffed out because this line broke, because this freak thing happened. And it's like, yeah, you could say, well, why were you even doing that in a storm? Well, because we're a big ship, we're designed to take that, and we've got to get it done. And that's one of those things. I mean, you do have to understand, they're like my job. People get killed all the time. It happens. That job is a lot more dangerous because it's a lot more high pressure, but I can guarantee you that this week more people that do my job are going to die than deep sea divers, because there are a lot more people that do my job. So on the average, the deep sea divers, they get paid a lot more, and it's a dangerous job. It's just how the world works. You go out there, you're away from your family for a long time. It's a very, very difficult situation. So you've got all this sort of tension, this pressure, not unlike the ocean's pressure itself, weighing down on these people to get this done and get home as soon as possible. And then this emergency happens, and you've got, that one actor that everybody is pushing. He's the guy supervising. He's not even one of the divers. You would think the movie would be about him, but it's not. And here, Natural Born Killers is just sitting in the bell going, let's not give up hope. You even ask yourself at some point, like, what did you even do? There's a lot of, how much were you were there basically giving emotional support to say, don't give up. That could be a very important thing, but that's kind of how this movie is. And I noticed that this movie kind of came and went. There's not a lot of buzz about it now. It's not like Novocaine, where I'm still seeing a lot of Of course, this is older than Novocaine, but reviews for Novocaine came out a month ago. Here we are. But yeah, look, Last Breath it's a intimate, intense film, and it belongs high on your watch list because it is a film that has a lot of pressure to it. Okay, I really enjoyed this film. I'm not saying I would watch this again, but I'm keeping this film in my mind as research for certain other kinds of films. Like, for example, if there was a Leviathan remake, I would have my actors watch this film, because this is what in real life they were doing in Leviathan, except for in Leviathan they were miners, not repairmen. So yeah, when you think about it, that movie is something we shouldn't be talking about, because we're talking about Last Breath. So now look, I am 100% going to watch the documentary Last Breath from 2019, because I enjoyed this film so much and I'd like to see more. I don't know what it is about these particular kinds of movies, but they fascinate me. I like to learn about these subjects, and I like to learn about these subjects in a method that is told to me in a story. So this sparked my curiosity. I've always really enjoyed these kind of movies. This film is right up my alley, but it belongs high in your watch list. If you haven't seen it, you really should, because whereas it is not a big, awesome, super blockbuster, it certainly is a very human story in a highly technical world, and it speaks. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Comments below. I'm Richard.
Background courtesy of Photographs of a Mad Richard. Link in the description.
Ladies, gentlemen, and human-type persons, I am Sergeant Duck, and I am tasking you with commenting on this video. You should also like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with your friends and make a better, more disciplined world for you and for me.